don't have the deep pockets and a good credit rating. Within 1 month, ECDI decided to loan Dempsey $60,000 to invest in equipment and operating capital. With this relatively small investment, Dempsey's restaurant created over 25 jobs. We opened the restaurant in March of 2012, and we serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. We're one shift shy of a Waffle House. We are very thankful that a community group provided my wife and I the resources to get Dempsey's restaurant opened, and the jobs created will play a very small part in making the entire community better. Without the support of Columbus City Council, the Franklin County Commissioners, the SBA, the United Way, private investors, and many other groups, ECDI would not be able to fund that investment. Dempsey's would not be a reality, and our current employees may be looking for jobs still. ECDI and small business is the right way to build a better community. Thank you, Brad, for allowing me to share my story and focusing your efforts in helping to create a better community by creating jobs and opportunities. I hope to see you all at Dempsey's at Mountain High.
My name is Hugh Greentree, and I'm a member of Congregation of Fereth Israel. I'm also a member of the Jobs Steering Committee. It's time for us to stop looking for jobs in all the wrong places and start looking in the right places. And the right places are with entrepreneurs and small businesses. As Joyce stated earlier, the two biggest problems facing small businesses are access to startup funding and access to know-how. The strategy for increasing access to startup capital is exactly what Mark talked about: micro-lending. Micro-loans are small loans of $1,000 to $100,000 made by nonprofits to budding entrepreneurs based on factors beyond merely looking at someone's credit history. Instead, they look at the applicant's character, their experience, the business plan, and their history of paying bills on time. Default rates on these loans are similar to, and in some cases better than, the default rates on traditional loans. We propose to significantly increase the amount of money available for microlending in Columbus. We believe that the total amount available should be at least $42 million. That's the amount that was spent to acquire the Nationwide Arena. Assisting entrepreneurs in our underserved neighborhoods should be just as important as bailing out Nationwide Arena. To solve the problem created by lack of know-how, we propose the development of 4 mixed-use small business incubators. Small business incubators have proven to be effective at helping new businesses become established and thrive. For those of us who might not know what a small business incubator is, it is a facility that provides a location and support services for new businesses. It takes a new or fledgling business and nurses it to strength through mentoring and coaching from experienced businessmen and women. It provides shared resources like copy rooms, administrators, bookkeepers, production facilities, and more. It also charges low rent. Once a business is strong enough, it graduates out of the incubator to stand on its own. Our research has shown that 84% of incubated businesses stay local. And, more important, these new small businesses generally hire employees from their home community. All around us, cities are seeing the value of these institutions. The affluent cities in our area, New Albany, Dublin, and Powell, all have developed small business incubators, all of which are mixed use. That is, they're not just for tech-based businesses. If it makes sense for these cities to give small businesses a leg up, it certainly makes sense for Columbus's inner cities to do so as well. Cities like Chicago, Nashville, St. Louis, and many others are all getting in on this program, while Columbus is missing out. So, we are asking to initiate a planning process to develop small business incubators for every side of the city, for a total of 4 incubators in all. That will help us create businesses right in the neighborhoods that need them the most. In order to implement these incubators properly, it has been recommended that a market study be conducted so that factors such as location, facilities, budget, and other details can be determined. Microlending and incubators are the right places to look for new jobs. Brad, rise!
My name is George Glazer. I'm co-president of BRED and rector of St. Stephen's Episcopal Church. Thank you. I'd like to begin tonight by acknowledging the presence of 3 members of the Columbus City Council. City Council meets on Monday night, and these 3 members are all here. They just walked in as we began this presentation, and I would like them to stand up. These are council members Troy Miller, Zachary Klein, and Priscilla Tyson. I'd also like to acknowledge, no, don't sit down yet, Council President Andrew Ginther, who is with us tonight. We appreciate all of you being with us, but I would particularly like to ask Council Member Miller and Klein to come up to the stage. Wonderful. Over the past weeks, we have met with Mr. Miller and Mr. Klein and shared with them the research that we gathered in regards to creating jobs through strengthening small businesses, and we've asked them to work together with us to do just that. We are excited about the opportunity to partner with City Council and to continue to work for improvements in the City of Columbus. We have specific questions for each of you, but let me begin with Councilmember Klein. Mr. Klein, when we met with you, you agreed on the importance of developing small businesses in our community. You certainly can sense from this gathering how committed we are to this. As an organization, our goal is to raise $42 million for microlending. Of course, we know that is too much money for any one person on City Council to raise. And by no means are we asking you to raise this entire amount. Now, back when we met with you at a previous meeting, you asked us if we would meet with you again to work out the details of your involvement. So that is my first question. Will you commit to meet with BRED within 30 days of this Nehemiah action to start that planning process?
Hello? Oh, hello. Well, first I want to thank BRED for the opportunity to be here this evening. This is a good-looking group of people, and you can tell by the passion and success that the BRED organization has had that we're on the right track. So thank you for the invitation. I'd like to say a couple things, if I may, very briefly. I know there's a schedule, and I will answer the question, I promise. About what the City of Columbus is currently doing for small business, because it's timely. What Brett is trying to do for small business is timely in the city of Columbus. Councilmember Miller and I and rest of the Columbus City Council recently instituted a small business roundtable where we invited around 30 small business owners, small business key holders, stakeholders to come to the table to talk about things like access to capital, to talk about things like the rising cost of health care, to talk about things like getting your name out, how I can find out if I want to start a business, how exactly to do so. So we had a meeting back in October, and we have another meeting scheduled for June. And to answer your question, will I meet in 30 days, I'd like to take it a step forward and say in the meeting of June to invite a Bread representative to come to the Small Business Roundtable to be part of the discussion of how we can affect small business. So yes, be more than happy to meet with Bread, and I'm asking Bread to come to our meeting approximately 30 days from now in June to attend the Small Business Roundtable so we can discuss things like access to capital and things like how we can move the ball forward for small businesses to grow and succeed in the city of Columbus.
So you are saying yes to the first question.
I'm absolutely saying yes, and I'm saying, Brett, come join us.
And on the part of Brett, I will commit that we will come join you. So we will say yes.
Thank you.
Second question. Will you commit to developing a strategy to raise a significant amount of this capital for microlending?
I commit to develop a strategy to raise a significant amount of money for microlending. But let me say this, what the city of Columbus is doing. And I think it's important to note that in the past 6 years, for small businesses, the City Council has directly invested with the administration. I see Director Safford, the Director of Development here from the Mayor's shop, $11.6 million. And that was money going through ECDI, money going through the Community Capital Development Incorporation. This money goes to the Small Business Development Center at Columbus State. So you project that $11.6 million, keeping in mind that because of what the state level has done to federal or to local budgets, that we face a $33 million deficit next year. But you keep that funding in mind and try to be sustainable on that level, projecting it out over 20 years is around a $30 to $40 million investment in small businesses, which is exactly what we need to be doing, exactly what Brett is advocating for. So I'm looking forward to the development of strategy of how we can raise money for small businesses, and thank you for the invitation. And thank you, everyone.
And before you step away, we always know that public officials are a little hesitant to get up here. You have said yes twice, and I think we need to say our applause in reaction, and thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, everyone.
Now, Councilmember Miller, we understand from our research that an important planning step for incubator development is the creation of a market study that will answer questions like, so how much does each incubator cost? Where should they be located? Who will the clientele be and what are their needs? You have explained to us that the first step toward getting this done is writing a request for proposal, an RFP, so that a researcher can be hired. So, Mr. Miller, will you commit to writing and presenting a request for proposal to the City Council for a market study for small business incubators?
First of all, thank you for inviting us today. But I want to go further than that.
Okay.
That statement, I think that this RFP should be written by Brad and myself to make sure certain questions are answered. The agency that we select for the market study, we should know whether they can provide information to tell us what type of business by category is most profitable for small businesses and by employee size. What type of small business produces the greatest amount of employees for them to hire? And then what are the pitfalls normally encountered by small businesses in their startups? And exactly where do we need to house these incubators? This is the part where it has to be a partnership between Brad and myself of creating this RFP so we know exactly what we're getting. So I'm going a step further of working with you directly to produce this RFP. And then from there, we're going to require this agency present to all of us this market study. in which we will present, of course, and give copies of that to all council members. Now, one other thing that's very important, as a small business owner myself, as we talk about microloans and capital, that's good for the first 3 years. But in order for these small businesses to survive, keep people employed, eventually providing the health insurance that they need, they have to have the customers. And as I look at this large group, you have the power of being that purchasing power for these small businesses to survive over that 3-year hump. So I'm challenging Brad, as we talk about this, is maintaining customers for these small businesses. Because as you talk about Bread Rises, it must keep its height.
So let me get this straight. You are saying yes, and you want us to say yes to partnering with you and being an integral member of this request for proposal and what comes from it.
Exactly. You have to be part of this, how this market study turns out. You have to be part of writing this proposal. As we talk about the other 3 things here, strategy and meeting with Brad for the next 30 days, that's not a problem. It's making sure you're getting what you want out of this study so that we have a jump start on exactly what we need to do of establishing and looking at possible incubators throughout the city. And another thing, this is something,
Go ahead.
this is something as part of the Small and Minority Business Development Committee chair that I'm responsible for.
So let me get this straight. It's yes, and to the second question I was going to ask, but I haven't asked, but you've answered, which is, will you commit to meet with Brad within 30 days of this action? It's yes and yes.
Yes, are you willing to meet with me?
Yes. Absolutely. We were going to give you about 2 minutes at the end of the questions, and let me just say we're willing to give 2 minutes to anyone who wants to speak here if there's anything else you would like to say.
Well, just very briefly, I'm Andy Ginter, President of Columbus City Council. Thank you for inviting us here tonight. Thank you for your patience and flexibility with the agenda and the schedule. We have council meetings every Monday at 5, and so we had the city's business to attend to before we got here tonight. But we look forward to partnering with you, working with you, collaborating with you. And I do want to reinforce what President Pro Tem Miller shared. There is exceptional power in this room with respect to buying power. And this collective group of people with council and with other folks in this city have to buy local, shop local, and support these businesses, ones that have already been created, ones that are yet to be created, in order to grow the type of strong and local economy with jobs that can't be outsourced and jobs that provide living and fair wages. So thank you again for having us tonight.
Rather than looking for jobs, it appears that Brad has found the right place to turn when we contacted the offices of the City Council. We want to thank you again for your support, and we look forward to working together with all of you. Also with us tonight are Royce Safford and Bill Webster from Mayor Coleman's administration. Would you please stand? As Brad and City Council move forward on these exciting proposals, for supporting the growth of small businesses. We have confidence that the mayor and his administration will see the wisdom of this approach and join us. Because bread